For less than a London flat deposit, you can own a home on the Italian Riviera. Not a ruin requiring six-figure renovation. An actual livable property with Ligurian sea views, belle époque architecture, and the same turquoise water that made Portofino famous. While tourists crowd Cinque Terre paying $20 for mediocre pasta, a quieter stretch of coastline offers something rare. Beauty and affordability in the same postcode. The Italian Riviera stretches 350 kilometers from the French border to Tuscany. Everyone knows Portofino, Santa Margherita, and Cinque Terre. Those places charge accordingly. But scattered along the Ligurian coast are towns where fishing remains an actual industry. Where locals outnumber tourists 9 months of the year. Where property prices reflect what Italians can afford, rather than what foreigners will pay. We examined current property listings across Liguria, reviewed healthcare through the regional ASL system, verified train connections along the coastal line, and spoke with expats who relocated between 2019 and 2025. We are counting down 5 Riviera towns where apartments and townhouses between $85,000 and $150,000 deliver coastal Italian living without the premium that fame adds. If you assumed the Italian Riviera required hedge fund wealth, you have been looking at the wrong towns. Hit subscribe and tell us in the comments whether the Riviera was on your radar before today. Population around 5,500. Located immediately north of Cinque Terre. Connected by the same coastal train line. Stand on Levanto's beach in summer and watch tourists walk straight through toward Cinque Terre trails without stopping. They have no idea what they are missing. Levanto has a proper beach. Not a sliver of pebbles wedged between cliffs. A genuine sandy beach that stretches in a wide crescent backed by a promenade lined with palms. The water is the same Ligurian turquoise that photographs so well in Cinque Terre marketing. The medieval Centro Storico sits just back from the waterfront. Average property prices sit around $3,200 per square meter, which sounds expensive until you compare it to Cinque Terre villages where properties start at $8,000 per square meter. A one-bedroom apartment near the beach recently sold for $135,000. A two-bedroom townhouse in the Centro Storico went for $180,000. These are not bargain prices. But consider what you are buying. Beach access. Train station with connections to Genoa, La Spezia, and the entire Cinque Terre in minutes. Restaurants, supermarkets, services that function year-round. Healthcare through the La Spezia ASL, with the main hospital 20 minutes away. The hiking trails that made Cinque Terre famous extend north through Levanto. You can walk to Monte Rosso in 90 minutes along coastal paths with views that justify every photograph you have seen. Except in Levanto, you are not dodging tour groups. The consideration is that Levanto attracts Italian tourism. July and August bring families from Milan and Turin. The beach fills. Restaurants require reservations. But shoulder seasons return the town to residents. A British couple from Kent relocated to Levanto in 2021. Cinque Terre villages exceeded $600,000 for anything habitable. Levanto gave them the same coastline, the same access for $165,000. They are 3 minutes by train from Monte Rosso when they want the Cinque Terre experience. The rest of the time, they live in a real town with neighbors who remember their names. Population around 850. Located between Levanto and Framura, accessible by the same coastal train, but somehow overlooked by masses streaming toward more famous destinations. This is a fishing village that still fishes. Boats launch from the small beach. Nets dry on racks. The town sits in a small cove backed by hills planted with olives and vines. The Centro Storico climbs away from the water in layers of pastel houses linked by stone staircases. This is not architecture designed for tourists. This is a village built for people who made their living from the sea. Average property prices hover around $800 per square meter. A one-bedroom apartment near the beach recently sold for $98,000. A two-bedroom townhouse went for $125,000. A three-bedroom house with sea views listed at $165,000. The beach is small but genuine. Pebbles rather than sand. But the water is clear and swimmable from May through October. The coastal hiking trail passes through Bonassola, connecting to both Levanto and Framura. You can walk to either town in under an hour along paths that hug the cliffs. Services are limited. One small supermarket, a few restaurants that close in winter. The train station connects to La Spezia in 25 minutes. For serious shopping or healthcare, you travel to Levanto or La Spezia. The consideration is size. With 850 residents, this is not a town with bustling piazzas. Winter can feel genuinely quiet. But a retired teacher from Bavaria moved here in 2023 specifically for that quietness. After 30 years in Munich classrooms, Bonassola gave her a beach she could walk to in 3 minutes, a village where everyone greets her by name. Her apartment cost $105,000. Population around 600 spread across 5 hamlets perched on cliffs above the sea. This is not a single town, but a collection of villages linked by the coastal trail and a road that winds through terraced vineyards. Stand at the Belvedere viewpoint and count the shades of blue where sky meets water. The 5 hamlets each maintain distinct character. Stone houses cluster around small churches. Staircases connect levels carved into the hillside. Gardens spill down terraces planted with vegetables and flowers. Average property prices sit around $2,500 per square meter, the lowest on this list. A 1-bedroom apartment recently sold for $85,000. A 2-bedroom townhouse went for $110,000. A 3-bedroom house with land listed at $145,000. Beach access requires commitment. A steep path descends to a small pebble beach in 20 minutes on foot. Alternatively, the train station sits below with a lift connecting to the coastal trail. From there, you can walk to Bonassola in 30 minutes, or toward the suspended trail, a spectacular section built on metal platforms cantilevered from the cliffs. The coastal trail is why people fall in love with Framura. This is the Cinque Terre experience without the crowds. You walk above the sea through Mediterranean vegetation with views that extend to distant headlands. In spring, wildflowers cover the hillsides. You can hike for hours and encounter a handful of walkers. Services are minimal. A small alimentary. A restaurant that opens seasonally. The train connects to La Spezia and Genoa. For substantial shopping or healthcare, you travel to Levanto. But a German couple from Hamburg relocated to Framura in 2020 after years searching across Italy. They wanted coastal beauty and hiking access without tourist saturation or impossible prices. Framura delivered all 3. The house cost $120,000. It has a terrace where they watch sunsets over the Ligurian Sea. The coastal trail starts 100 meters from their door. Population around 2,700. Located east of Cinque Terre between Levanto and Sestri Levante. This is the town that guidebooks mention as a quieter alternative and then move on from, which keeps it exactly as residents prefer. Moneglia sits on a proper beach. 2 beaches actually, separated by a small promontory. Sand and pebbles stretch in gentle crescents backed by a promenade where elderly couples walk each evening. The water is clean enough for Blue Flag certification most years. The Centro Storico maintains medieval bones beneath stucco refreshed so many times, the colors shift with each generation. The parish church of Santa Croce rises in the main piazza. Streets radiate from the center climbing toward hillsides planted with olives. Cafes serve locals who read newspapers over espresso that costs $1.20. Average property prices hover around $2,900 per square meter. A 1-bedroom apartment near the beach recently sold for $115,000. A 2-bedroom townhouse went for $140,000. A 3-bedroom apartment with sea views listed at $185,000. The train station connects to Genoa in 90 minutes and La Spezia in 35 minutes with hourly services. Healthcare connects through the Sestri Levante Hospital, 15 minutes away. Supermarkets, banks, post office, pharmacy all function because 2,700 people live here year-round. The beaches are the key. Moneglia offers what expensive Riviera towns charge premium for, but delivers it at prices locals can manage. Families return generation after generation. The same beach umbrella rental has been operated by the same family since 1962. The consideration is that Moneglia is not undiscovered. Italians know this town. Summer brings visitors. But these are primarily Italian families rather than international tour groups. August is busy. The rest of the year belongs to residents. American from Oregon relocated to Moneglia in 2022 after a tech career that left him exhausted. He wanted coastal access, year-round services, and community not performing Italy for tourists. His apartment cost $128,000. He swims most mornings from April through October. The butcher knows he prefers pork to beef. This is what money cannot buy in expensive towns. Integration. Not technically on the Riviera coast, but where the Magra River meets the Ligurian Sea, creating a microclimate and geography distinct from clifftop villages. Ameglia sits 3 kilometers inland from the beaches of Framura, connected by flat cycling paths through pine forests. Population around 4,500 spread between the medieval hilltop village of Ameglia proper and the coastal frazione of Framura. This is the least obviously Riviera location on our list, and exactly why it deserves the top position. While everyone fights over clifftop villages, this corner offers coastal access, natural beauty, and prices that reflect local demand. Ameglia Hilltop maintains its medieval structure. The castle ruins dominate the skyline. Narrow streets wind between stone houses. But the real value lies below. Framura Beach stretches for 2 kilometers of sand backed by pine forest. Water is shallow and safe. The beach never reaches Cinque Terre density because most tourists do not know this exists. Average property prices sit around $2,400 per square meter. A 2-bedroom apartment in Framura with beach access recently sold for $125,000. A 3-bedroom townhouse in Ameglia Hilltop went for $145,000. A 4-bedroom house with garden listed at $210,000. The Magra River creates landscape diversity absent from pure coastal towns. Wetlands, pine forests, cycling paths, birdwatching opportunities. The beaches offer traditional seaside while the river provides calm water for kayaking. La Spezia lies 15 kilometers away with full hospital services and train connections. The coastal road connects to Liguria, Portofino and Cinque Terre. Supermarkets and services function because this is a real town where families raise children. The consideration is that Ameglia lacks the dramatic clifftop aesthetic that defines classic Riviera imagery. If you require houses stacked vertically above turquoise water, other towns deliver that better. But if you want coastal living with space to breathe, nature access, and prices that allow comfortable budgets, Ameglia offers something increasingly rare. A British family from London relocated to Framura in 2023 with 2 young children. They sold their Clapham flat for $850,000 and bought a 3-bedroom house with garden for $165,000. The beach is a 5-minute walk. Their children cycle to school through pine forest. The cost savings allowed one parent to stop working. 5 towns. From Levanto's Cinque Terre access to Ameglia's river delta beaches. Property prices ranging from $85,000 to $185,000. The Italian Riviera has not suddenly become cheap. Portofino and Cinque Terre will continue charging what international wealth will pay. But scattered along the coast are towns where locals still outnumber second homeowners, where services function year-round, where property prices reflect Italian earning capacity. These towns offer coastal access without performing for tourists, train connections that work, healthcare that functions, communities that welcome residents who integrate. This is established coastal life at prices that reward those willing to look beyond famous names. If the Italian Riviera interests you, visit between April and June or September and October. Avoid July and August when every coastal town swells with visitors. Drive the coastal road. Stop in towns you have never heard of. Walk to the beaches. Talk to residents. Like this video if Liguria was not on your radar. Subscribe because we find coastal towns where quality and affordability overlap. Tell us in the comments which of these 5 towns appeals most. The Italian Riviera is real. The towns exist. The prices are current. Your coastal Italian chapter might be waiting in a village you cannot yet pronounce.